Good morning, Marko.
Morning.
And welcome to Friction-Free Interview.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Could you please introduce yourself briefly?
My name is Marko Kohtamäki. I work as a professor in the management department. My main research field is strategy and servitization. So I study manufacturing companies, their value chains, value networks, how they manage networks, particularly in complex solutions, in complex product service solutions, which we often coin. We coined the transition from product to services as servitization. But basically we are talking about large scale manufacturers of large solutions which are combining both products and services and are often in transition from product business to service business.
So spot on that we are interested about.
I guess so. I guess so. So technology companies, manufacturing companies, large global businesses, complex solutions, and of course their value systems, both customer side, supplier side. And I guess none of the large manufacturing companies are working as separate in these days, but it's all about managing the network, operating with both customers and suppliers, and how those networks are managed.
In your recent studies, you have been studying on concentrating on service providers' capabilities. Yes. Could you tell a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. We see so that these companies, large-scale product manufacturing companies, building cranes, building ship engines, propulsion systems, all kinds of large solutions are in transition towards servitization, creating more value to customers by services, creating value, capturing value, and the solutions are getting more complex. So this type of business model requires bundling products and services and the capacity to capture value both by products and services. And it means that when the product service solutions are being sold, the value needs to be quantified, the solution sales becomes more complex, and also the delivery processes throughout the value system become more complex. Of course, customers are requiring more customization for the product manufacturers, for the solution providers. The challenge is that how the product service solutions are being standardized or mass customized so that the whole value system, the supply chain, could be managed efficiently. So on the one hand, it's about creating higher value for customers, making customers' life easier, and on the other hand, it's about making everything efficient. So it's kind of a paradoxical challenge between effectiveness and efficiency. And in this type of setup, of course, what becomes critical is, on the one hand, effective solution sales process, managing the solution sales process, then again the project management, how these large solutions delivery projects are being managed, of course product service bundling, how companies are developing these product service solutions, bundling products and services to combined integrated solutions. And then, of course, how the solutions are delivered by the supply chain. So the previous standardized product delivery system becomes actually much more complex product service delivery system. And that means all kinds of challenges for the whole supply chain, actually.
Yeah, let's continue about the supply chain. We are of course interested about supplier network management capabilities. Could you tell a little bit more about that?
Yes, we just published a paper on supply management capabilities, or under a title of Alliance Capabilities, and we separated the supply management capabilities under 3 different dimensions: management, integration, and learning. So our basic kind of conclusion based on large-scale review of existing empirical studies was that in these complex solutions types of product manufacturing service delivery businesses, you need to be able to manage, of course, the supply chain very effectively, but also it requires certain capacity for visibility that didn't exist before. So very complex systems, open discussions, open IT systems, profit sharing in many cases, kind of understanding that we are doing this together, we are in this together. So it's not a one-man show or one company show, but the capacity to deliver complex product service solutions means that you have the capability to manage the whole distribution chain, the whole supply chain efficiently and effectively. And that means that you have the capacity to manage together. So you're working together with the suppliers, you have perhaps some type of shared IT system, and very flexible and of course transparent way of operating.
Yeah.
Then again, integration, second dimension, trust development, kind of the in-depth collaboration, joint process development, joint development of structures, strategizing together, perhaps developing, so that the higher level management is also talking together between the solution provider and the supply chain. And throughout the way, of course, development of trust, so that the whole chain feels and believes that we are in this business somehow together.
Yeah.
So that capacity to develop the business together means that everyone is doing better business. And then the third dimension, of course, the learning, joint learning, by what the literature, the research literature means is that these companies need to learn together. So the development processes doesn't only take place within the companies, but they take place beyond the company boundaries and, of course, in between the companies. So companies are developing processes and IT systems and strategies together. They are talking, but they are also continuously setting targets and following up the progress together.
Yes.
So it's kind of a managing the joint learning process throughout the supply chain. And I think this is important as it kind of requires new types of capabilities also for the supply chain directors.
Yeah.
Because it means that you are not only doing the competitive bidding, only looking at the short-term cost, but also developing the processes, looking at long-term and developing efficient operation throughout the supply chain so that the delivery times can be actually kept in very complex product service systems which are difficult to deliver in time.
You are an experienced and recognized advisor in manufacturing industry and manufacturing companies. Could you please tell us, to our community, your tips how to develop these capabilities that you mentioned in this interview?
Thank you. Obviously, these three dimensions that I mentioned, so supply chain management, supply chain integration, and learning, are such that they all have a certain type of implications. So the first dimension, of course, requires capacity to manage openly. So it means kind of capacity from the supply chain directors, but also from the supplier side, capacity to manage the processes and the process development somehow together. So making things explicit, communicating effectively, open interaction, and perhaps ability to discuss and consult also suppliers in terms of difficult challenges. So I think it's less authoritative perhaps than in more standardized product businesses. In complex solutions, it requires kind of collaborative attitude and more explicitness. And the same holds to integration, that the capacity to develop trust means that you have the ability to trust the supplier development as well. So that you can consult the suppliers, you have ways of rewarding the suppliers for good development, and of course you have that sort of attitude that it's not only about us, but it's about us developing the business together with the suppliers. And the suppliers see it, they feel it, that develops trust, and also it commits to the development of the operations for the future. And of course, this is important for the learning. So that in order to see that the processes are actually developing and the learning takes place, you need to be able to, at the same time, set difficult targets, set tough targets, but at the same time provide needed support so that you are providing the resources for the development, you are providing the support, and you are kind of managing the development within the network and doing the follow-up. I think in the end, in all development and learning, the follow-up is the kind of the key to the good management.
Perfect. Thank you, Marko. It was a great pleasure.
Okay, thank you.